Welcome to our 11th annual Legacy of Hope event, celebrating our Youth of the Year. I'm Carrie Holden, and I have the honor of serving as President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of South Puget Sound. On behalf of the clubs, I want to thank you for spending your evening with us tonight. We guarantee we'll make it worth your while. Tonight is about sharing our Boys and Girls Club story, but it's more than that. It's about lifting up our Youths of the Year and recognizing their great futures are not possible without you. As a student, I had an internship with Metro Parks here in Tacoma. I know there's some of the Metro Parks staff in the room over here somewhere. I had an opportunity to volunteer at the clubs. That day of volunteering was a life-changing day for me. It literally took that first visit and one time for me to understand that service in the clubs was where I was supposed to be. I can honestly say that like many of the young leaders you're going to meet tonight, my great future started when I walked into the Boys and Girls Club. I just got a little bit later start than some of the kids tonight. Tonight, we're recognizing 7 outstanding Youths of the Year. They're all from the Puget Sound area. And this evening, we'll be hearing about the beginning of their great futures. My thanks go out to everyone who has made this event possible. For those who sponsored the evening, invested your time and talents into our Youth of the Year program, I am deeply grateful. Our youth have had an amazing experience this year, and it's thanks to your generosity. This year's Legacy of Hope sponsors are scrolling on the screens behind me and are listed in your programs. I'd like to share a special thank you to some of our major sponsors: Patriot Fire Protection, the Banford Family Foundation, and the Dimmer Family Foundation. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have the privilege to be up here tonight with our board chairwoman, Sue Shipley. In addition to serving youth for more than 50 years, and yes, I did get her permission to share that number, Sue has been on our board and serving our organization for 14 years. She's currently in our second year in the role of leading our Board of Governors. I can honestly say that her passion and dedication are like no one I've ever met. I just want to make sure that we give her a warm welcome as I turn the podium over to her, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm so excited to be back this year to celebrate the impact of the Boys and Girls Club through the stories of our children. I think I have worked with children in every possible capacity. I've been a child, I've had children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I've taught children, I've been their principal, and I've worked with the Boys and Girls Club. And I have to tell you that the work that we do here is really incredibly important work. Probably the most insightful time of my life were the years that I served as a principal in a school district that has very high poverty numbers. I wasn't raised in that neighborhood. I learned about that neighborhood as I worked with the children, as I visited their homes, as I saw what their homes had and what their homes didn't have. As I began to learn that some children, when they go home, don't have a home. Some children have a building they live in, but they don't have beds. They don't have furniture. They don't have food. And often, many of our children also don't have kindness. So we worked hard in the school district. I was in the Bremerton School District. We worked hard in that district to make sure that our schools would be nurturing places where we could build a loving, caring environment that believed in children, treated them kindly, and encouraged them to succeed. But all we had was 6 hours and 45 minutes a day, and that includes recess and lunch. And then the children would leave. For many children, it's fine. They go home to a wonderful place. For some children, it was less fine. For some children, the best 6.5 hours of their day were spent in their school. They were there when we got there. They went home at the end of the day on the bus, and they were back before I left that night. hanging around at the school. So at that time, we did not have a Boys and Girls Club in Bremerton. We always thought it was like a big city sort of thing, you know, Chicago, New York, Tacoma, Seattle, that sort of thing. Not so much the country kids. But when I heard that we could have one, and I was invited to be part of that campaign to provide a site for our children for the first time in Kitsap County, and then another site, and now many sites, I was thrilled because now what I know is this. At schools, we have 6 hours and 45 minutes. With the Boys and Girls Club, there's 3.5 more hours, 1 more meal, 1 more opportunity for physical activity, 1 more group of people who love them, nurture them, teach them how to set and meet their goals. 1 more opportunity to always be treated kindly and have a place to sit, a place to eat, and a place to grow and be safe. I think it's probably the most important thing I've ever heard of. I've never heard of anything better than the Boys and Girls Club for our children. And the only reason that we can do this, 3.5 more hours, food, safety, tutoring, play, love, is because of you guys and people like you guys. We have government grants, of course. We have, you know, corporations who are wonderfully supportive of us. And we have, I don't even know how many people who just reach down deep into their hearts and support the clubs with their money so that the people who work here do what they know how to do. And I'm here to tell you, they know how to do it. And the children that you're going to hear tonight are just a few of the children of our product. If we were in the automobile industry, we'd go broke because it takes us 12 years to build each of our product. But we work at it starting at the 6-year-old level and go all the way through until they graduate. And what happens is we create a group of children, like the one you're going to see now, who are going to go into the world armored and ready. They will know how to succeed. They will know that they are important. They will know that they will be successful because there are no exceptions to the number of people in our club who can succeed. Every one of them can do that. And that's because of you, and I'm grateful. I want you to know I never take that for granted. Every moment that you volunteer or contribute to us makes an enormous difference in what we can do for these children. So I want to introduce some of the people in this room, not by name, but by category. And I will ask as I name your category if you will please stand up and remain standing. And we will clap for you at the end. And if I could, I would clap to you until it hurt, because you're so important to what it is that we do and so important to those kids that we serve. First of all, I'd like to introduce the community leaders by starting with the Board of Trustees for the Boys and Girls Club of South Puget Sound. I treasure these people. Please stand. These people meet every month, plus all of their committee work, plus all of their spare time, and they work and support our organization with everything that they've got, and they never complain, and they never quit. We have people on our board who've been there more than 20 years, and some who are legacy that started the board after their parents stopped the board. So with the Board of Trustees, please stand, and we thank you for your leadership. So that's what it takes to have a club. But what happens in the club is because of our youth development staff. Whether you work frontline serving the kids every day or keep things moving in the administrative office, with the Boys and Girls Club staff in this room, please stand and be acknowledged. These are the frontline lovers who take care of our kids every day. Thank you. We also have a number of guests representing the armed forces and our first responders. These people work so hard to keep us safe in our country, to make it possible to live in a place where we can do things like this. We would ask if you would all please stand so that we can thank you for your service. And finally, my favorite partners ever, schools. Would all the teachers, administrators, secretarial staff of public schools, private schools, post-secondary levels, please stand and be acknowledged for educating our youth. We are grateful. And by being here, all of you are making a commitment, investing in the future of our youth and ultimately the success of our communities. We are excited to share the impact of our clubs. The important work we do wouldn't even begin to be possible, so thanks to each and every one of you in this room for allowing us the great honor and privilege of providing these opportunities for our children. Now, I would like to introduce you to Mike Linstra, our MC. Some of you know him. He's done this before. And he's a ton of fun and a very great man and a huge supporter on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. It is my honor to introduce you to Mike, who has been involved with the Boys and Girls Club dating back to when he was a student at PLU, Pacific Lutheran University, Lutz. He was work-study employee with the clubs then, and then joined our marketing committee, corporate board, and finally our board of governors for his day job. He is a senior accountant executive with Lamar Advertising. Please help us welcome Mike. There he is.
Thank you guys, always. Who doesn't want a play-up song, man? Not that I requested that. I might have requested that. She's been such an effective leader this past year. Sue, our board chair, Sue Shipley, you've been so calm, so measured. 2 words they've never said about me. Can we give her one more round of applause? Thank you, Sue. So as introduced, I have been on the board for 10 years. This is my 2nd year of emceeing this event. My goal the first year was not to fall off the stage, not to use inappropriate language, both of which were a coin flip. I wanted to do good enough so that I wasn't the butt of any future jokes, but just right underneath that so I wasn't invited back the 2nd year. The reason for that is I blew all my jokes, man. I'll be honest here. That's what happened last year. But honestly, I'm excited to be back with you again this year. And don't worry about me. I negotiate for a living. And I demanded 2 times the compensation tonight. And after a little discussion, they relented. So I'm going to have 2 dinners. If you look at me tonight, I will be eating 2 dinners tonight for that. That's what I get paid. Okay. As I look at it, I recognize a lot of faces. Generous individuals that have been with these kids year after year after year. And we thank you. If you were here last year, if you please raise your hand. You don't even have to put down the fork, just don't stab your neighbor. Amazing, amazing. Because of your amazing generosity, last year we increased the total raise of this event by 30%. 30%, that's incredible. You can clap for that. If this is your first time tonight, if you've never been here before, why don't you raise your hand too? Can you raise your hand? First timers? Ooh, all right. All right, they're clapping. I don't know if you guys heard, but last year we increased giving by 30%. So hey, no pressure, no pressure. I got faith in you. Speaking of last year I filled my table. I promised my table. I said, hey, there's a celebrity MC. And didn't work year 2, I'm not going to lie to you, but I did tell them this. I said, hey, the more money you give, the less I talk. So it's table 6 right here. So you'll know when I get a little extended. It's on them. Whatever your motivation, however you got here tonight, I promise these kids will win over your hearts. We're here to celebrate 7 amazing youth of the year. These guys have already won. They've already went through competitions of their own clubs, and they won it. Every single one of these kids is already a winner. They've been judged on academic success, character and citizenship, healthy lifestyles, interviews, essays, poise, and public speaking. But these kids aren't the first. There's been others in front of them. And right now, if you look up at the screens, we'd like to recognize those people that have won before them. If you are one of these, would you please stand and be recognized at this time? It's not easy doing that, guys. Not easy winning here. We'd also like to recognize past alumni of the Boys and Girls Club. And I'm not just talking South Puget Sound. If you're a past alumni, if you've been to a Boys and Girls Club before, please stand and be recognized at this time. There's one amazing alumni that we'd like to celebrate this evening. If your name is not John Farrell, would you please sit down at this time? John, where are you at? Oh, there he is. I saw him off to the right. We chatted earlier this evening. He's like, Mike, don't make me stand up. I said, oh, you know I've got to, right? You know I've got to. Earlier this evening at a private ceremony, John was recognized and inducted into our Alumni Hall of Fame. John attended the South End Boys and Girls Club as he grew up here in Tacoma. He is now an amazing, generous community leader, an entrepreneur, and business owner. I'm a little bit of a pizza connoisseur. Some might say expert. And he makes the best pizza on the West Coast. Forelli's, I know you guys know that name, so. If you want to talk to John too, I heard a little story that there might have been a little bit of a forest fire after that photo. So if you want a good story, you might want to find him afterwards and congratulate him as well. Thank you, John. So much to celebrate this evening, so many incredible people to honor. In 1992, we created the Stan Naccarato Community Service Award to recognize community service and dedicated volunteers. Named after its first recipient, who was an inspiration to all, who spent his entire life making Tacoma a better place. A list of the amazing individuals, as well as organizations who have received this award are now listed on the screen. If you are one of those individuals, one of those organizations, would you please stand and be recognized right now, please? To present this year's award, I'd now like to bring back to the stage Carrie Holden and introduce Stan's wife, Jean Naccarato. And representing last year's recipient is the Bamford Foundation, is Cal and Holly Bamford. Can we welcome them to the stage this time?
Well, thank you, Mike. Wow, what an honor to help present this to another one of our local family foundations who truly embody the attributes of this award. And not only through their foundation, but through each individual member of the family who really have demonstrated leadership and commitment to great futures for our young people in our community. And I'm really excited to be able to be a part of this. And we're honored to be able to present this year's Stan Naccarato Community Service Award to the Woodworth Family Foundation. So we're going to say a few words, just to hopefully won't be too embarrassing. First, I have to say that the Woodworth family are a family of gracious doers, and I know this for a fact because I've asked some of these people, namely Jeff, to help, and he always steps in to lend a hand, and it's really in service of our community, our young people, and that's really inspiring. The Woodworth Family Foundation believes in contributing to the region that's been so important to their family's success in business and life. Their financial investments support countless nonprofit organizations with an emphasis on education, youth services, healthcare, and human services. Just some of the organizations that the foundation supported through their gifts of time as well as financial investments are Multicare, YMCA, Foundation for Tacoma Students, UW-Tacoma Emergency Food Network, Greater Metro Parks Foundation, Caring for Kids, United Way of Pierce County, the Children's Museum of Tacoma, Rescue Mission, and of course, Boys and Girls Clubs. It's important to note that 3 generations of Woodworths have served in various capacities on the Boys and Girls Clubs boards and committees, and I know this for a fact. I'm going to hand it over to my dad to say a few things.
Just a bit more about with some anecdotal evidence. The Woodworth Company was founded in 1921 within 100 yards of the family company that I operate, Globe Machine Company. We were at 15th and A Street, and Woodworth was roughly 11th and A. We moved to the Thea Foss in 1923 and Woodworth in about 1930. We're still in the neighborhood. We've been neighbors working alongside each other in completely different endeavors. But since that time, and I can't claim the full 100 years, obviously, but maybe half of that. But John and Judy, I'd like to recognize in the audience here. I worked alongside John in the neighborhood for more than 50 years. So I know them, and I know the legacy of the family to be true community builders, platinum level community builders. They're still doing the same kinds of things through Jeff and Nancy today that were done with John and Judy and before them. So I applaud the commitment to the community building and the efforts and the results that have come from your fine work. I welcome Jeff to come forward.
Okay, I think I see Holly more than I see my wife. Don't worry, Nancy. Anyway, thank you, Holly and Cal, and thank you again for all the great work that the Bamford Foundation continues to do. You guys are hard to live up to. Jeannie Nacarado and Steve, it's an honor to be included in this award that began with Stan and continues to honor him every year. I knew Stan and got his phone calls, and as many of the people in this room have, and what a great man and a great community supporter. It's truly an honor to have our name on this award. I'm standing here tonight to represent our family, but there are very many hands involved in the work that we do. So I'd like to ask our board of directors and their extended family to please stand at our table and be recognized. Get up. Great, thank you. The leadership in our family's business and his philanthropy has strong roots in this community, and it goes back to my great-grandfather Harold Woodworth, to my grandfather Alden Woodworth, and to my dad John Woodworth, who again was the 1999 recipient of this award. We've all had great role models, and I know our entire family is passing that down to the next generation too, so we're quite proud of that. About 10 years ago, we decided to organize, formalize, and increase our giving here and be more intentional about it and formed our foundation. This has allowed us to better support the nonprofits in Pierce County that are doing such good work for this community. And I know it may be somewhat cliche, but it is so true. We have been so blessed in our family and our business, and it's the least that we can do is to contribute to this community that has given us so much. And we really do believe that. We're so grateful for our friends and our foundation peers that have helped us on this philanthropic journey. Your guidance has been invaluable, and many of you are in this room, and I know you know who you are, and I thank you deeply for it. To the Boys and Girls Club, thank you for nominating us for this award, and basically thank you for being there and bettering the thousands of youth, over 1,000 youth that we serve every single day in the clubs. Every day, over 1,000 youth. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for the award.
I'm going to read what's on it.
Where am I standing?
Right here. You got to stand next to me. I'd like to read you what this award says because it just gives you a great overview of what the Woodward family has done. Your family has been selected to receive this annual Stan Nacarado Community Service Award. Because of your demonstrated leadership and commitment in making our community a better place to live. Thank you for your exemplary devotion and service to the community and to the Boys and Girls Club of South Puget Sound, February 28th, 2019. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you very much. You all right? Yeah. Hey, we're very proud of you.
I've worked with Jeff on the board for over 10 years, and I have never met someone so more dedicated and passionate about helping the youth of our communities. This is a well-deserved reward. He knows I got to say something else, too. He is the only one in our, I guess I'd say, adult-only board meetings every month that has more colorful language than I do, Jeff. So, hey, it's our passion. It's our passion for the kids, I think is what it is, right? And it's what we do. Actually, I used to work at the East Side Club 20 years ago, and I'd love to share a story. I know what you're thinking, right? Didn't they have child labor laws back then? You must have been 12. And hey, thank you for that. Thank you. That makes me feel better. I need that. The story's about a gal named Kim. She was a staff there. She was actually a standout basketball player at the University of Puget Sound. And the kids encouraged us to play a game of basketball, a little one-on-one. And little did Kim know I was varsity in high school. I'm like, I got this. This is what we should do. I totally support this. The game was surprisingly tight. The next thing I know, in the crowd was just not the boys. The boys were the only ones hanging out in the club at that time, but a few girls started trickling into the gym. And before I know it, I'm starting to hear this, Kim. And I'm like, all right, I'm inspired by that. I get you. I see what you're doing. I see you. Next thing you know, my boys have turned on me, and they're like, Kim. We're playing at 10. It's 7-7. I'm like, this is getting a little tight. I see the cook come out. She's like, Kim. That's all right. 9-9, she's got the ball. She's driving to the hoop. I'm like, no way. She's shooting from the outside, rebound. I'll put this away. We'll forget it ever happened, right? She goes to the hoop on me hard. She's coming at me that the outcome of the game is not that important. That's what my therapist has told me every week since then. But what is important is how many girls are in the gym after that day. It's a staff thing, guys. The staff. The staff is what makes these kids happen, and you're going to see the results of what they do here shortly. Over the last 19 years, we've had 8 State of the Youth winners. 8 state out of 19 years. And I worked with this on my 5th grader last night. He did the math for me. That's over 40% of the time we've won state from the person who is up here on the stage tonight that wins. That's impressive. Out of those 8, 3 have went on to the regional championships, which means they go all the way to the White House. They've met the president, and I think you see photos of that right there. Impressive stuff. This doesn't happen with a lot of help. This isn't just a staff-driven issue, guys. This is a community getting behind them. And we'd like to recognize some of those people in the community right now that got behind this Youth of the Year program. When I read your name, if you'd please stand, let's hold the applause to the end. The University of Washington-Tacoma. They hosted candidates for a variety of events throughout the year. Michael Bushmull of Applause Associates. He's a speech coach, and he worked individually with each one of these kids. Someone I probably should have worked with too before I got up here tonight. Maddie, Photo and Motion. There's amazing photos, and they're all coming from them. Thank you. Alvin Mosley, Dreams in Sight. Personal brand workshops with every single one of these candidates. And our friends at Macy's. You're going to see them. They're looking sharp tonight. And all the countless volunteers. They did mock interviews. They helped with essays. They listened to speeches. We'd like to say thank you to all of you tonight. If we give them a round of applause. Thank you. You bet. Now on to the toughest job in the building tonight, the distinguished panel of judges. They reviewed application packets, several rounds of interviews, and listened to every single one of their speeches. Then it came the toughest part of all. They had to take these 7, they had to come down to 3, and those 3 speeches you're going to hear tonight. And then they had to take that 3 down to 1. I don't envy them. As I introduce each judge, I would ask you to please stand, and once again, let's please hold our applause to the end. Tony Brooks from State Farm Insurance. Lindsay Hill, Rakes Foundation. Corey Mosley, United Way of Pierce County. Gail Selden, Ed Selden, Carpet One. And Darcy Zarelli, Community Advocate. Can we give them all a round of applause, please? Not an easy job, just ask them. And wait till you see the kids up here tonight. Speaking of the kids up here tonight, it's time to introduce the stars of the evening, the 7 Youth of the Year candidates. To help me out with the introductions, I want to bring to the stage no stranger to this program. She's the 2018 Boys and Girls Club of South Puget Sound Youth of the Year, Kayla Ente. Currently, I know you're going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. My arm was already up. Thank you. We're going to get there. She's currently the freshman of the University of Washington-Tacoma. She's going to help me introduce each one of these, and then she's going to have a little time to tell us what she's been doing till this past year. All right, now we go. Let's welcome her to the stage. All right, let's get on with meeting this year's group of winners. We're going to take turns. Kayla, would you start?
All right, so first up we have Jade Cooper, the Al Davies Branch Youth of the Year. Jade has been a club member for 11 years and is a senior at Charles Wright Academy. She plans to attend Kennesaw State University to pursue a career as an artist and repertoire representative.
See, they get play music too. They deserve it. They earned it. I just walked up here. Stephen Graves, Henry T. Schatz, Branch Youth of the Year. He's a senior at Lincoln High School. He's been a club member for over 4 years. He plans to attend Central Washington University and major in political science. We all know we could use a few smart, gifted politicians right now, huh?
All right, and now we have Joshelle Holland, South Pierce County Branch Youth of the Year. Joshelle is a sophomore at Graham Kapowson High School and has been a club member for 5 years. She plans to attend the University of Massachusetts to become a teacher or an artist.
Next up, we have Darby Ingram. She is our North Mason Branch Youth of the Year. Darby is a senior at North Mason High School and has been a member of the club for 8 years. She plans to attend Central Washington University and pursue a career in biophysics.
Next up, we have Charles Johnson Jr., the Lakewood Branch Youth of the Year. Charles is a sophomore at Lakes High School and has been a club member for 9 years. He plans to attend the University of Southern California and pursue a career as a promotions manager.
And next up, we have Abigail Townsend, Cheney Family Branch Youth of the Year. Abigail is a senior at Peninsula High School and has been a club member for over 3 years. She plans to attend Pacific Lutheran University. All right, I'm a little biased. Go Lutz. And major in international business and politics.
And finally, we have Haley Warren, Milgard Family East Side Branch Youth of the Year. Haley is a junior at Franklin Pierce High School and has been a club member for 3 years. Haley plans to attend a 4-year university to pursue a career in the arts. If you weren't keeping track, all 7 of these candidates have 43 years of combined club membership. Please give all our candidates another round of applause. To each of you here tonight, I am so thankful for all that you do for us. Your support of the club has helped provide me and all youth of the year with the ongoing support we need and the opportunities we have today. We won't be able to hear everyone's speeches this evening, but we do want you to have a chance to hear from each of the candidates and get a feel from them personally on how the clubs have helped them create their future. For me personally, my great future started at the club when I first walked into the doors and was met with acceptance and kindness, and that was right then when I knew that this could be a place that I could call home and I could grow in. So we will now hear from each of the candidates. We will start with Jade and move down the line. Come on up to the microphone, Jade. So how has your great future started at the Boys and Girls Club?
My great future has started at the Boys and Girls Club because I realized that I had mentors who really loved and supported me, which inspired me to become a mentor myself.
Next up, we have Stefan.
Can you guys hear me? All right. My great future started at the Boys and Girls Club the moment I stepped foot the doors. I was greeted by staff members from the Henry T. Shouts and for supporting me in the time when I needed it.
And now we have Joshelle.
My great future started at Boys and Girls Club when I was given a push. No, a shove into the right direction when I wanted to pursue my dreams.
Now we have Darby.
My great future started at the Boys and Girls Club when they gave me the support to work through my failures and realize that can't is in the moment and can is forever.
Up next, we have Charles.
My great future started when I joined the performing arts program and started to develop myself as a person instead of letting others develop me.
All right, and now we have Abigail.
My great future started at the Boys and Girls Club when I joined Keystone and I found the confidence to use my voice, and now I get to invoke change everywhere I go.
And finally, we have Hale.
My great future started when I walked in the doors of Keystone. It was one small step into a big future for me.
Congratulations to all the candidates this year. I wish you all the best. Can we give them all one round of applause?
Can we give Kayla one more round of applause? She has a great year this year as our youth of the year. Thank you so much. We make her do a lot. You guys don't know. We bring her to every function, roll her out, and say, just throw that speech out there. And everyone's like, yeah, just do it, right? Not that easy. Just like these kids up here tonight. You guys sounded fantastic. We're finally down to the moment we've been waiting for, the opening of a few envelopes. But before we get there, I just want to let you know, every candidate on this stage gets a minimum of a $2,500 scholarship as a Youth of the Year from the respective branches. All right, yeah. The 3 finalists that are about to be announced get a minimum of $3,500, and the winner will receive a minimum of $5,000 scholarship. Just from what we heard tonight, I have no idea how those 5 judges we called out earlier this evening are able to come down to just 3 finalists and 1 winner. I'm impressed what they do. To do us the honor this evening of naming the 3 finalists, I invite up to the stage the Vice Chair of our Board of Governors. Jen Meiklin, would you please join us up here?
Thanks, Mike. Very excited to hear the speeches. I hope you are as well. So I'm going to get right to it and open this envelope. Are you guys ready? Ready? All right. Wait. All right, in no particular order, the top 3 candidates. The first one is Jade.
Jade, you are strong. Jade, you are smart. Jade, you are beautiful, and Jade, you have a purpose. These are words that I have heard all of my life and that I truly believe and live by. And when I walked through the Boys and Girls Club's doors at the age of 6, these words were confirmed for me. Jade, you are strong. Growing up, I was in a different situation than most kids my age. I grew up with a single mother with a brain condition and no father in the house. My mother endured 19 brain surgeries and continued to remain strong for my brother and I. My father, he was never daddy or my first love. He wasn't even a positive male figure that I looked up to. I had other men who played that role. I remember putting a mask on when it came to him. I would act as if I did not care that he was absent from my life or that it did not matter to me. But now as a young woman, I can see that it has affected me emotionally. Though the world may think that I have suffered a loss, I know that I have gained an example of what a strong woman looks like, and she has taught me the importance of knowing my self-worth. When I began attending Al Davies, I was immediately introduced to Mr. Patrick, Mr. Corey, and Mr. Kyle, men that have all had a positive impact on my life. Having these men in my life began to fill that void of not having my father as a young girl. They were the positive male figures that I needed to see. Along with these 3, the club has provided me with great mentors that I have been blessed enough to keep in contact with as my support system today. Jade, you are smart. From a young age, my mom always made sure I knew the value of a good education. Going to school every day and getting good grades was a must for me. My mentors at the club helped push me to reach my full potential through the Yazzie Scholarship at Charles Red Academy. I was fortunate enough to be chosen to receive a full ride, not only because of how seriously I took my education, but also my leadership while at the club. So despite the emotional scars I may have received from my father, I always remembered hearing from my loved ones, Jade, you are beautiful. And I use that today to show others that no matter your story or where you come from, you should always know your self-worth. Girl Talk was a place where I learned very early the importance of having female mentors. Here, girls were given the chance to talk to women with different stories throughout the community, which inspired me to become a mentor myself. Jade, you have a purpose. In their mission statement, the club says to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. While this cannot be more accurate for the club, it is also something that I abide my life by. The club taught me how to care for others so much that I identified as my personal brand. I hope to leave my positive impact on everyone that I may encounter and to help them feel more confident within themselves, because the club did it for me. The Boys and Girls Club opened its doors for me, and I cannot be more grateful for the wonderful times it has provided me with. Walking through those doors the first day, nervous to start a new chapter, I did not imagine that 11 years later, the club would still mean so much to me and still be such a big role in my life today. Now as my club experience comes to an end and I begin my next chapter in life, attending Kennesaw State University in Georgia, I will forever be grateful for all the lessons and opportunities the club has taught me. The club has inspired me to become a mentor because I believe that every child deserves to know that they are strong, they are smart, they are beautiful, and that they have a purpose. Thank you. I am Jade Cooper, Al Davies 2019 Youth of the Year.
Thank you, Jade. That was wonderful. Our next speaker will be Charles.
Open book. A person who freely shares how they feel, what they're thinking, or what they're doing. To most, this is what I am. But I wasn't always like this. From a young age, I was bullied because I was vulnerable and I wanted to fit in. They would say things to me like, "You'll never be anything. Don't bother, you'll fail. Why are you here? No one likes you." And these horrible words, they destroyed my confidence and prevented me from testing what I was capable of, making me feel hurt, lonely, and unwanted. My first day of first grade was also the day I began attending the Boys and Girls Club. After experiencing the first day of school, I was not ready to attend the club. I was scared, and when I walked through those doors, I didn't know what to do or how things worked. I'll never forget, I was sitting in assembly and got sent to the wall for talking to the person next to me on my first day, one of the only 2 people I had talked to that day. And as I sat there, I thought, wow, I really don't like this place. But it only took a few weeks before I felt the warm, loving, and welcoming environment that is the Boys and Girls Club. At the same time I was dealing with the hurt I would go to school and experience every day and would go on to deal with for the next 2 years, I would go to the Boys and Girls Club every day after school and be built up with the encouragement needed to break out my comfort zone. They say great futures start here, and mine had. Thanks to staff such as Ms. D and many others who have always supported me, and the friends who have encouraged me that I continue to make today, I have now served as student director of the play for 3 years, direct the student choir, become the Keystone Treasurer, and now I stand here before you. I've been going to the Boys and Girls Club for 9 years now, and I could leave, but I won't. Something about it hooks me. That hook is the welcoming embrace of love and warmth that surrounds me every day when I walk through those doors, and I can't help but want to give that to others. Being told that I would never be anything and that I'm not wanted has broken me. Correction, could have broken me. But the Boys and Girls Club has encouraged me that I can do whatever I want after I graduate, and that I can be who I am free of judgment. After I graduate, I will go to a 4-year university and get my degree in marketing so that I can go on to do promotions management and advertising. The Boys and Girls Club has also helped me to want to encourage others to be who they are and pursue a secondary education free of judgment. Now I am no longer bullied for being me, but I am confident, friendly, and outgoing. I put myself out there as an example for others to see and be encouraged by. No matter where you go, people will judge you, but it's what you do with that judgment that affects you. I am Charles Johnson, the 2019 Lakewood Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year, and this is my story.
All right, and our final speaker tonight will be Abigail.
Who do you want to be? Oh, me? I want to be a marine biologist. No. Who? Maybe a teacher? No, who, not what. Oh, I don't know. I hated this question. There's no logical way to solve this equation, and I've never been good at math. Up until high school, I dodged this question at all costs. You see, most don't care for the future of someone who's not willing to speak up. Shy, awkward, and quiet was the perfect camouflage. So instead, I spent my childhood climbing a tree. Up in the tree, I didn't have to blend in. I could scream and sing and be me. I could see farther than on the ground, see the things I love, and see all the branches I was able to overcome. A new obstacle leading me to the view I desired, and oh boy did it feel good to see how high I could climb. But eventually, I moved. 4 new houses in 5 years. I didn't have time to venture out for a new tree to climb, so I just stayed quiet. For the fear of having the wrong opinion and overall attention terrified me. And something horrific happened. Or so I thought. The 3rd house forced me in the direction of the Boys and Girls Club. First day of the club, first day of freshman year. Oh me, oh my, little shy Abby was not prepared for either. Opening the club doors, I was greeted by smiles and the overwhelming smell of BO. It was something I never experienced before, and I instantly fell in love. Then it happened. I was bribed into my first Keystone meeting with Rice Krispie treats and the promise of a better future. I've received both. In Keystone meetings, I quickly learned that my club family cared about what I had to say. I didn't need to worry if I'd mess up or say the wrong thing because I knew they were listening and I knew that they cared. Through love and support from staff and my club peers, I found the confidence to use my voice. For the past 3 years, I've happily been the Keystone president and discovered my true passion for service. I found my new tree. I never thought I'd reveal who I want to be, But thanks to the club, I know I can be a leader. I know I can make a difference, and I know the power that I hold within my words. So no, I won't be a marine biologist or a teacher. I will be a world peacemaker. My love for service took root in the Boys and Girls Club, and I will branch out to the rest of the world. I will major in international business while minoring in political science. I will work for the U.S. Department of State, and I will make a positive impact on our world. I'm here proudly representing the Cheney family branch as their 2019 Youth of the Year. And who do I want to be? I'm Abigail Noel Townsend.
Yeah, I didn't forget it was my turn to come up here. I just need a little time. Impressive, right? Impressive? Yeah? Yeah? Just in case you're wondering why we win state 40% of the time or more, huh? All right. Listen, I'm so impressed with these kids. And listen, it wasn't just these three. It was all seven. All seven were amazing. Three got to make, yeah, all right. Yeah, I get that. Three of them made the stage, but all seven deserved it. Impressive work, guys. All right, I'd like to invite up an alumni of the Boys and Girls Club named John Gaines. John recently graduated with a doctorate in business administration. He is currently working his dream job of community relations as a manager for Tacoma Public Utilities. John also lives here in Tacoma with his wife Emily, newborn baby Anora, and dog Lola. In his free time, he mentors and inspires youth through the Push for Dreams Leadership Academy, a nonprofit that he himself founded. Please help me welcome John to the stage.
Can we give it up again for the youth? I would be remiss if I didn't honor my wife, who is here with me this evening. We have a 7-month-old at home, and so we're treating tonight as our date night. I am so honored to be here with you this evening. This is literally a dream come true for me. This is what I believe. I believe we harvest what we plant. We literally grow what we plant. The Boys and Girls Club changed my life, and I would not be on the stage before you all if it were not for the Boys and Girls Club. I was born here in Tacoma, Washington, on the Hilltop. In the early 1990s, the Hilltop had some of the highest drug and crime rates in America. My mother, when I was born with drugs in my system because my mother used crack cocaine. Growing up, I remember walking to school, I would have to navigate through the gang members to get to class just to feel safe. When I was 7 years old, a troubled 7-year-old boy with a speech impediment, a troubled 7-year-old boy that was a delayed learner, a troubled 7-year-old boy that a lot of people gave up on. I had the same routine I would follow every single day. As a 7-year-old boy, I came home, I followed the same routine I would follow every single day. I'd run up to my mother's room to give her a hug just to feel her warm embrace. As a 7-year-old, I came home and I found my mother dead. I didn't have a dream. My dreams were crushed. I didn't have any hope. My hope was shattered. something changed. I had a teacher who pulled me to the side shortly after my mother passed away, and she said, "John, what is it you want to do? What is it you want to become?" I said, "Well, I don't have a dream for myself. I don't have any hope for myself." She said, "I know there's something." I said, "Well, maybe one day I want to go to college and I want to play football. I want to win a championship." She said, "What else other than sports?" Sports are great, but she knew there was something else inside of me. We just finished studying about Dr. King. I said, "Well, maybe one day I want to be a doctor like Dr. King and I want to change the world." My teacher looked at me with tears in her eyes and she said, "John, I believe in you." And that was my first experience with hope. Fast forward 4 years, I was 11 years old. I went to my brother. I finally worked up the courage to share my dream out loud. I shared one of my dreams with my brother. I said, "Hey, bro, I want to play football in college. I want to win a championship one day. I really want to play football." And my brother, he was a straight-to-the-point guy. He looked at me with a puzzled face, and he said, "Well, John, you have to start playing football." And I'll never forget my brother, he dropped me off at Al Davies Boys and Girls Club. And it was literally the first time that hope that I experienced as a 7-year-old boy, that seed that my teacher planted, was watered. It was like hope became tangible. It was like hope was something I can now hold on to. And on that football field, I was able to build a foundation for the rest of my life. Because of the volunteers, because of the staff, because of those coaches, they watered that hope. They put a plan behind that hope. And that literally propelled me all the way to college. And I'll never forget winning that championship in college. But I never wear the championship ring because I realized through my experiences with the Boys and Girls Club that I've been a champion my whole life. A champion is just this: someone that defeats all rivals in competition. Playing football those years at the Boys and Girls Club, I learned that I've been a champion my whole life because I learned how to defeat obstacles. I learned how to defeat rivals, a true champion. Something more significant, I've been crying every night this last month because last month I received my doctorate degree in the mail. All because of the seeds that were planted into the Boys and Girls Club were then planted in me, and something grew. Like these young people that shared their stories, greatness grew. And I would not be here tonight if it were not for those seeds, those financial seeds, those seeds of service. As you prepare your gifts tonight, I want to share a few things with you. I believe tonight we have an opportunity to plant a seed of hope in the present to grow power in the future. That's what we're doing tonight. I believe this as we celebrate the legacy of hope dinner and these youth. I believe legacy is not something that we leave for people, but rather legacy is something that we leave in people. Tonight we have an opportunity to leave hope in these young people, to leave hope in an organization that calls out greatness out of every young person that walks through those doors in the Boys and Girls Club. And this is what I believe as we prepare our gifts tonight. Anytime generous people get together for a great cause, I believe lives are changed. Anytime generous people get together for a great cause, I believe communities are better. Anytime generous people get together for a great cause, I believe the impossible becomes possible. Last year, the Boys and Girls Club was able to give $1.8 million to the youth that needed it the most. My hope, my goal for this year is to give a lot more. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you as you give tonight.
Slow walk, just like last year. Give you time to grab that envelope. Give me time. 2. John, thank you for those words. You know, it doesn't happen. We raise 89 cents of every dollar for these kids. We don't turn anything away. And the story of John, the story that you heard, the 3 stories, the 7 stories behind me, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Amazing stuff. On a side note, why do I always have to talk after these people too? So next year, when I negotiate this, not only am I getting 2 dinners, put a buffer in between I come up here. Take the time, grab those envelopes right now. We're not going anywhere. Pass them around your table. This is why we're here. And we appreciate every single one of you for being here. Now for the moment we've been waiting for. I know. I've been sitting I don't even know who's the winner. No more speeches. No more weak jokes. No more old stories about maybe or maybe not winning a basketball game. It's great. Let's announce this year's winner. Please welcome back to the stage the chair of the board of directors, Shu Shipley, and Boys and Girls Club president and CEO, Carrie Holden, for the big announcement. Can we welcome back up here?
Told you, these kids are so amazing. And for me, it wouldn't be happening if it weren't for you. So John, thank you so much for your wonderful words. It was a wonderful story and yet another success story for all of us. I want to know that the investment that you've made in our club results in what you've seen before you. You've seen 7, now 8, of the wonderful children that we've had the privilege of serving through the years. But they're not the only ones. Every club has somewhere between 80 and 200 kids in it. And they're all like this. They all come to us in a position of hope and walk away prepared to have great futures in their lives. So now, the moment you've been waiting for, that I kind of hate actually because I want them all to win. But it's time to tell you who the winner was this year. Jade.
Wow. Thank you. I am overwhelmed with emotions right now. Wow. First of all, I just want to thank God. Thank you for letting me be here today, and my mom, most importantly, for raising me the way you did. All of my mentors, Miss Ashley, Miss Sunshine, all of the mentors at the club, thank you so much for believing in me. This is honestly like a dream come true. I wanted to be this little girl. I saw the story of somebody else as a Youth of the Year, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to tell my story. And so thank you for letting me come up here and tell my story. I am so grateful for the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
We rushed through that envelope part. I know, I'm a board member. I can dwell on it a little bit. And I want to share a story that just happened at my table, too. My wife said, do you have a checkbook? And I'm like, I already wrote it. It's hectic, right? Coming up here, I'm coming down. There ain't time for that. I pre-wrote the check. She goes, well, hand it to me. And I'm like, well, here. Oh, you're lucky. I would have added a 0 to that. So here's to all the women controlling the checkbooks right now at your table. And no pre-written checks. No pre-written checks like we did tonight. So, hey, listen, we want to thank you tonight. And I hope you leave as inspired as I do tonight. Please leave the envelopes on the table and drive safely. And I hope we can expect you all back here tonight. Can we give these kids one more round of applause?